what I see as the most important factors on this, let's call it a thinly traded weekend, but also a holiday weekend here, as tomorrow is Easter Sunday in the United States, and then wherever anybody else that chooses to celebrate. I don't know how it works worldwide for most places, but we do have Easter Sunday tomorrow. Monday, unlike a lot of the world, where they are still shut down on Monday after Easter, the USA goes back to work. We go back to normal, typical trading. Stock market, the stock market, the futures, and all that good stuff will be open. So we will have a fully functional week to start. It just, right now we've got a Friday where we had no trading for Good Friday. We have a few different things going on. So on this weekend, it is thinly traded, but unlike a lot of the rest of the world, our markets are going to be fully functional tomorrow. And for anybody who was here yesterday, I started a slightly different format where for the first about half hour, I just talk. I'm not looking at comments. I don't care how many people are here, even though I hope that there's a lot of people watching by the end or stay until the end. But I found that it was a lot better for me to give the information and so that you can adapt to what I think is going on here or my expectations here going forward. I think it just makes it a little bit easier to understand when I'm talking without interruption. So I won't know how many people are watching until about around 9:25, 9:30 this morning. I'm going to go to the farmer's market with Julie's mom when she gets here. So we should have about a good 50 minutes here, at least until 9:30, 9:45, and then I'm going to go take care of business. Tomorrow we have Easter Sunday. We're doing that at our house. We like to do holidays at our house. Now that we redid our house, it'll be a lot easier with the new kitchen and such and so on and so forth. But that's neither here nor there. We need to talk about the cryptocurrency market here on this Saturday morning. We have not been able to get any kind of real volatility upside. Bitcoin is sitting up about $800 right now, and it still looks to be bouncing on top of that 4-hour time frame, the golden cross. Unless it gives that back, we don't have to worry about a further drop. In fact, if it does push up, our next layer is going to be 87,691 initially, and then we'll start working from there. If we maintain the bullishness, then we could go up to 93,136, almost like a laddering. And ultimately, assuming this formation stays and holds, your ultimate target would be up near 97,764. But I preface this by saying that is not the end game. That's just a short-term target after this breakout of this pattern, assuming that it holds serve. Now, one could argue that, yes, it could still drop farther. We could all argue that. But we'll see if the volatility brings us to the upside and that we finally broke out of this downtrending, descending. One could argue that maybe it is almost like a descending wedge, descending triangle, whatever, however you want to look at it. But it is on the top side, so that does give you volatility to the upside, assuming it doesn't break down. The problem is here, is we're on the weekend. Furthermore, we have an Easter Sunday, and we went back into XRP's chart from 1 year ago on March 31st of 2024, which was Easter last year. And we will revisit that before we go deeper into the XRP chart, just so anybody who wasn't here yesterday during the live, which there was about just over 1,000 views, which was good to see. Some people are losing interest at, I believe, the exact wrong time. I think this is the most profitable, this is the most interesting time to pay attention to these charts, because I suspect that we're not going to be able to avoid this pull down on the right arm. A lot of people either agree or disagree with me. Honestly, like I said yesterday, if you disagree with my analysis on the charts, you're wrong. Not because you're wrong about the overall chart, but because the analysis is unbiased. I would be wrong if I disagreed with the analysis on the screen. The analysis on the screen is telling me you have to watch for a three-peak top here on this short-term pattern because you had a left shoulder, head, right shoulder. It's extending to where what we have to look out for a bear flag. And if that's the case, it's not bad news. It's just short-term pain. A lot of people will ignore what they don't want to see and act like it's not a reality. It is a reality, and we've got two separate realities here. One, we consolidated down, and we hit the support of one of two lucrative ways to make a big gain. Then you bounce out and you hold this as support. So now we would have to hold this 207.5 as a support structure. Unless that 207 is held, then you come back down to that $1.99, $2 range. And if that's lost, you go down to what I suspect would likely be the end result here. And you would come down to that $1.83. Not the end of the world, but we want to acknowledge that that is in play very much so here. And we've got the two different scenarios where this can avoid happening. One, we hold that 207 and this is the start of a break up. Two, we consolidate back down to $1.99 and we hold and then we layer back out. Three, we come back to $1.83, fill out that elongated inverse right shoulder, stay on top of the neckline that's been formed here. And I drew it out in real time. So it's me drawing it out right here in like a stencil form. But that's the neckline, and it gives us plenty of room to come down there. Supported on an inverse right shoulder if it wants to come down farther. Even though we kind of have the elevated inverse right shoulder like we have, they're just more uncommon with setups like this. Not more uncommon as a whole, but they're more uncommon in setups like this. So, but we are seeing early bounces and other things like XLM. Yes, we were in a rising wedge in the short term and it could have broke down. But just like DGB, it hooked, and now we're using this as a support. If this is the case, maybe we could avoid that bigger drop, and we could have an Easter Sunday bounce. Now, when we go back into the Easter Sunday history, and let's just go back 1 year ago, on March 31st, 2024, because that is when Easter was last year. It was not in April last year. But if we just go back to March 31st, 2021 or 24, it started a drop. So on Easter last year, if you're new, and this is important because you want to see past history, it was right up here. We were up here at 62 cents on Easter. Immediately on Easter going into Monday, we dropped down to 56 cents. So from Easter at 62, we had an almost immediate 15% drop in the next day or two. Then we rebounded back to 62. Then eventually, we ended up falling off to our low, and this was all done after Easter. So we ended up dropping off 37% within 17 days after Easter. The initial drop off after Easter was about 14. We paired all losses just to double top on the hook, and then we came right back down to where we were at on Easter. So then we ended up losing 37%. But that kicked off a 5-month consolidation to where we had support. So you had left shoulder, head, or the three bottoms, and we were trying to left shoulder, head, right shoulder, and it ended up playing out perfect. Absolutely perfect. So the question is, this year on Easter, are we going to do the exact same thing? Do we dump off initially, have a little bit of consolidation up on Monday just to confirm the drop, and then do we end up falling off and then start building in for the rest of the year for the eventual kickoff after you see the pumpkins are out after that last dip? Or do we have a much quicker parabolic move this year because of the way the setups are and the fact that we're consolidating off of moves already, even though we're firmly in bear markets? And I think that's still the word that ties some people up. Tom, how the hell can we be in a bear market of XRPs over $2? Simple. This bear market just started a lot higher than the other one. XRP was at $3.40. It's dropped off to $2.08. That's a tremendous downfall. That's well more than the 20% that starts bear market territories. And it's over 30% that, in my opinion, always confirms bear markets. We were at like $3.40 at the top. And even if you look right now, we're well over. Where are we at? I mean, we're at about 38.5% still. We're down. We're very much so in a bear market. So that's why you are seeing less gains after every rise. You'll see more drops. But that doesn't mean that it has to continue going. Like, we have a very real chance here. If we take this optic, we could break out of here. The only problem I see here is that that kind of looks more pulled down than it should, and that almost looks like a bearish candle. Now, I don't want to say that in the daily because we've still got 10.5 hours or almost 11 hours. But that kind of looks bearish to me in the setting right now. Now, we've got a lot of time to make this right. One way to make this right is to continue to ride on here. So 207, make sure this holds. Ride down a little bit if we want. But it does have the bottom end potential here. And if we're looking at this in like a reality check here, we've got about 12.3% down from where we're at right now. So over 12%. So that would be to the bottom of where this would maintain a bullish consolidation if it did come back down to the bottom potential. So that means if you buy right now, there's a potential of a 12.3% drop from where we're at right now, even though it would maintain a bullish structure. So I want everybody to understand, if you're buying right now, it is a 12.3% differential. It started at about a 24% from the top, but it's worked its way down. It's consolidated perfectly within this little descending triangle area almost. And now we're going to see if it can do the breakout. I've got this set up in every scenario you could possibly imagine, and we can follow it in real time. So we're going to know in real time what we're doing. Right now, we're trying to make a decisive bullish move. Unfortunately, in the daily time frame, it kind of got eaten alive here a little bit. And we're going to see if we can find any more top-end potential. We're going to need some kind of volume here to continue this move. In the 2 hourly, it's already started out like a bearish engulfing candle, which is not good. It already has a new low. And that is simply being defined in that daily candle as well, looking like a long leg doji, or not a long leg, but looking like a gravestone doji with a little bit too much downside pressure. Yes, we had a beautiful push up, but it's got more downside pressure. See how that wick shot up real quick? There's more pressure to the bottom here, but we've got a chance to keep this momentum. It's just in the 2 hourly, it's quickly reversed now that the USA is starting to wake up on this beautiful, fantastic, rainy, stormy, and all-inspiring Saturday morning, as we're one day before, you know, the holy day, right? I mean, before Easter, depending on how you believe in what happened. You know, we have the resurrection, or we at least have the rebirth, but it's also like, not even just for our Lord, it's for all of us, you know? So we can take this in stride, and, you know, I choose to see opportunity in life, you know, and it comes in the weirdest of ways. It really, really does. You know, and when you're watching the crypto market right now, I understand with the volatility, believe me, I understand with the volatility that it makes it very, very, very difficult to stay transparent with yourselves within the charts. Like, it doesn't just happen to you. It doesn't just happen to my audience. It also happens to me. You know, sometimes I'll be watching things, and yes, I'm very, very, very passionate about what I do. I'm very, very direct on what I see in my own charts. But, you know, there still comes that, I don't know the best way to put it, but there still comes that moment where you're looking and you're like, you know, I know what's going on here, but at the same time, is it within my time frame, or is it within, you know, like I always tell people, it's one thing to buy in the market and time it down. It's another thing to just buy with no real understanding and just say I'm going to layer down. Like, the one thing I want anybody to understand if they're watching me, you kind of forget that mindset. Okay, yes, we can watch it from a standpoint of I'm going to buy it now and it doesn't matter what happens and it's just whatever. Or we can try to build we can try to build a fundamental understanding, you know, of exactly what the markets are trying to show us. Like, I would rather try to decipher what the market is trying to show me than be completely oblivious to what I'm seeing. And I know for some that's kind of weird, but I don't want to be the bitch of the market. I want to start to have the ability, and I mean real ability, not just this fake persona. I want real ability to where I can decipher whether or not it's going to be too much time in the market versus timing this market properly. And I think that's I really do think that that's I don't know if it's a forgotten skill in the cryptocurrency space, but a lot of people have fallen under the victim mindset that it don't matter where I buy, it don't matter how I buy it, as long as I buy it. And like, I hate to break it to everybody, but that is not, in my opinion, the proper fundamental to dictate how to deal with these kind of markets. I found it much better to learn the analysis, to learn the charts, set up something like this so that I don't get trapped, and then I can see the perspective of, okay, if this market's really meant to shine, it's going to do something like this. If it's not meant to shine, it's going to do something like this. And then I try to show in real time exactly what I'm talking about. Well, yesterday, And I'm an analytical person, guys and gals. So, and this is not to brag, but yesterday, just in sports, and I don't usually bet anymore, but sometimes they give me an opportunity. And they give me a $25 free bet on one of them, which is funny. And I had to use it in baseball, so I used it in the Tigers. And I don't watch any baseball, but I know numbers. So I looked at the analytics, and I did a crazy plus 5,497. It was a $25 bonus bet. See, they gave me it for free. Well, I just went through the numbers, and I tend to have a knack for this, and that turned 25 free dollars into 1,370 off 1,100. And then I parlayed it into basketball. And they gave you, $25 profit boost. That turned into 135. But then I did the rest of the 125 I kept in there and turned that in. So that was like a $2,000 night on analytics. And that's not to say, oh, you should go sports bet. But what I'm saying is I look, and everything I do, everything, it doesn't just matter in charts. I look for the anomaly in numbers. And like in cryptocurrency right now, there are two different anomalies that are setting up. One is a breakout anomaly right now, and it's one that would be less suspected based on recent history, but it is definitely about a 37% possibility right now. It should be more, but because of the dynamics, normally I would say this is a 75 to 80% chance of breaking out. We're filling out this extension area perfectly. We're on the top side of it. We've consolidated about 50% from the move on the top to cut it from a 25% drop to about a 12.5 if it goes to the bottom. So that's a 50% retracement within this own technological move, or this own technical move. However, we're on a thinly traded weekend. It's Easter Sunday tomorrow, and 1 year ago on Easter, we started a 35% drop. Dropped 14%, paired all losses on Monday into Tuesday, and then fell out to that 35% floor. So after gaining all losses and paring them, anybody who got out would have been happy. And then anybody who sat in and said, oh, this is the time, they dropped 1/3 of their portfolio. Just to watch it consolidate for about 5 to 6 months, put in a beautiful bullish Gartley last year, and then break out to those monumental moves that we've seen at 10x and XRP roughly. So it was a tremendous move that we were able to make, about a 9x to be safe. But it was a tremendous move. Now what I'm seeing here is a little bit of despair. As much as I want to come on here and say, guys, gals, it's going to be a beautiful day, because it is, and we have no choice but to go up, which we may, we still got some demons to deal with here. And I know it's not the greatest, but we do have some top-end wick here that never makes me comfortable. You want to see that this little area right here of the movement to be topside, and you want to see more bottom wick, and that would allow you to know that you've got more like a dragonfly doji to the top end. You're pulling up more. You want that long leg doji to be top. You want that top. Well, this, even if you're saying is a long leg doji, we got more, it's pulled down, which means it's more like a gravestone, which means we have to be careful. This is a danger candle in the daily. And it must be followed up with a bullish candle to start on the daily candle tonight at 8 p.m., which means we can't be going the down route, which means we can't give up 207, which means that we do not want a bearish engulfing candle on this candle, which we have right now. This is not a good sign to start the day. Now, we do have some anomalies going the opposite way, trying to tell us, hey, guys, pay attention. We've got XLM initially that's pushing out of here. So can XLM be a front runner? It's invalidated this rising wedge, right, in the short term. Now, I understand one could argue and say, hey, Tom, technically, hey boss, it's still a rising wedge, it's just a higher rising wedge. And I understand that, I really do, because that's technically, you fold into a bigger rising wedge. I showed it with DGB, but it gives you that opportunity here to bust out of it, because we needed to do exactly that to avoid the bigger drop and create that little setup, which we have right now. Now the question is, can we do kind of like a DGB and kind of sit here for a minute, and try not to break down? Because DGB's got a little bit of a reversal candle. But again, we'll see how this plays out in this 2 hour and see if we can start to reverse in the right direction. Because I re-expanded it with DGB just like I did with XM, and you can see how this is very much a rising wedge still. It's just a much bigger setup than it was in the shorter term. So with that being said, good morning. 9:12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Saturday, April 19th, 2025. I'm XRP future millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. Some people would say I'm XRP future millionaire with the side bet on X. I'm in future Digibite OG, and I still reside in the great state of Michigan. It's a beautiful morning. Like, I mean, it's not really a beautiful morning out here because it's rainy, it's not sunny at all. It's dark and gloomy, kind of like I like it. Something about that. You smell that dark and gloomy. Nobody wants to get up. You wake up early on a Saturday morning and you conquer the world. You start looking at things that nobody's expecting. You know, most people are still sleeping, especially on the West Coast. There might not be anybody watching. That's the beauty of me doing this when I can't see anybody talking right now, or I can't see how many people are watching. I'm just being myself and free flowing. I would love to know in the comments if you prefer this style, because honestly, I don't care. But I do care, but I don't. Because I think this style fits better. I think not being interrupted by the comments, which I love the comments, but being able to flow through just my analysis. And then you know what? After a half hour, we get to around 9:25, 9:30. We open it up and we have a good 20, 25 minutes of back and forth where I can talk to everybody. I see if anybody sent YouTube super chats. And this is the best way to get my attention now, because there's going to be so many comments. If you want to be brought to the front of the line, send a YouTube super chat. Join Tom's Army, because if I see you commenting and you're part of Tom's Army, I'm initially going to go to your comment because you're paying to be in Tom's Army. That's $9.99 a month. If you want to support the show, I would love it. We haven't got very many supporters this month, but we've been pushing out, and subscribers are almost to 34,000. It's good to see 101 people, it says, are here this morning. I would encourage you, if you're watching, to download BITUNIX, even if you're not trading, in case we have drops. Go to my homepage. It'll be in the video description below of this video when it posts after the live. But it is the lowest spot in leverage trading fees in the world. USA especially, we can do things we never thought possible without paying those expansive fees. You can also send a donation, PayPal, Cash App, Venmo. You can join Tom's Army to pay it forward. I've been doing this since March 24th of 2021. I have not missed a single day, and I have not charged for a single piece of my info. I do it on the pay it forward model. If I'm getting you something, you're making something, or if you just are appreciative of all the time I put in and the days that I don't miss, you can always send a YouTube super chat, or better yet, join Tom's Army. We have a bunch of people that are in Tom's Army. It's just not many have joined recently, but I understand we've been in a 4-month consolidation, and a lot of people, the optics will be lost because they're going to look at it and say, oh, we don't ever make. And this is the biggest thing with crypto. Oh, XRP is a pile of shit. I hear it all the time. You never make any money in XRP. And it's like, man, oh man, how short-sighted we really are. We had not only an opportunity of a lifetime for 2 years to buy this, 2 years, late 22 into 23, and we even got one more chance. Actually, early 23 was the best time. Then we got one more chance at 38 cents in late 2024, just months before the breakout. Months. But everybody says, or most people say, XRP never moves. Like, I don't know about you, but buying, you know, I bought about $8,000 worth in between 23 and 24. And that $8,000 worth turned into almost $60,000. I even cashed out, you know, a good 34,000 and still have over, what, 12,000 tokens. So there was massive profit. And some people, oh, Tom, you're going to regret that. No, I'm not. You know why? Because I had a strategic plan. I don't give a rat's ass what everybody else's possibility and, you know, their understanding or what their potential, what they want. I only care about what I want, what I see, because it's my portfolio. See, this is the problem most of us have. We care too much about everybody else's portfolio. Who gives a rat's ass about everybody else? Their circumstances ain't they're yours. They might not have the same money positioning as you. They may have more or less than you or I. So they will have to do things differently. They bought in a different spot than you and I. They have different strategy for the last 4 years than you and I. So you have to maintain your own plan. Don't you think it's hard for me sometimes to stick with my own plan when I get criticized all the time? You know, for selling after a big bullish push, after 9x, and then get criticized and then try to help as many people as possible. It gets a little demoralizing for sure. But at the same time, you got to be strong and you have to have your own identity. So when people see the way I do things, they come and watch my channel because they say, this guy does it a little different. He's not afraid to be pushing out of the end of a bull market. He's not afraid to put his testicular fortitude on the table. And he's not afraid to get his dick chopped off if he does it wrong. He doesn't want that to happen, but he's willing to take the chance. Not for my dick entirely, but you know, my portfolio to be slashed if I do it wrong. And the cool thing about it being slashed is it's just not getting more gain. See, that's the thing. I'm not losing out. You may be missing out on the top end, but you're not technically missing out. I've never heard of one person who went broke by taking profit. I've heard of a lot of people who stayed broke by never taking profit. Think about that. I've never heard of one person go broke from taking profit, but I've seen a lot of people stay broke by never taking profit. Let that sink in, no matter what side of the table you sit on. I've been on both sides of the table. I once sat on the side of the table I was so broke that I was afraid to sell because I didn't want to pay the taxes. How stupid and naive was I 10 years ago? Hey, Tom, let's not sell at a $15,000 profit because you're afraid of paying $3,000 or $4,000 in taxes, but you have net gain of $11,000 to $12,000. Oh, nope, that doesn't sound good. Let's just let this ride to zero and then whew, I don't have to pay taxes. I know damn well that describes about 45% of my audience in crypto right now, maybe more. Don't be like me. Don't be like past Tom. Present Tom is trying to avoid you from being past Tom, and I want present Tom to teach you how to be fat and very happy with wealth, Tom. Not fat with abundance of body fat, but fat with the abundance of not having to worry about going to a 9 to 5, not having to worry about the dollar being de-dollarized and under 100 now in pairing, folks. The US dollar now, if you have a $100 bill and you take away all inflation, is only worth $99.22 when you take it to the store. I'm serious. Your $100 bill now is worth $99.22. And that's not counting inflation. So I don't want this audience to sit there and go, oh my God, I'm fucked. I want this audience to remain abundant. I want us to gain abundance when most people are, remember, wealth doesn't just simply disappear and go to money heaven. Typically, when retail and the poor people's money goes away, it's not flying to money heaven. It's flying into the pockets of the rulers of the world. You and I know who they are, known as the central banks. The Fed is our central bank. Hello, Mimi. There's coffee in there. Okay. So the Fed is our central bank. The European Central Bank, you know, the ECB is out there. You guys know them all. We can start naming them off, but JW saying slippery slope, red button, stop, abort. So I'm aborting. But that's me being as real as I can. Like, we need to stay away from these traps. We need to stay away from cheap money. We need to stay away from meme tokens. We need to stay away from the illusion and the fostering of just this cheap, easy, elusive, but this we can't fail mindset. Oh, we can fail if we do it wrong. And I've said this since 21. I can't afford to do it wrong. You only get one chance at this. And yeah, of course I could make it wrong and then I could restart with 3,500 like in 21 when I did an XRP. Or like when I expanded into all the... But that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a 4 to 5 to 6 figure to 7 in long term. Sure, you know, from 6 to 5 we go because we work on the house and we take money, we spend funds, we do what we have to do. But we have to wait for this next abundant push. But we also have to do it at the right time. We can't just say, I'm buying it today because I'm afraid of what I might miss tomorrow. No, you shouldn't buy today until you understand what you might lose tomorrow or what we might see tomorrow. See, what they ever dying dollar, until we go into quantitative easing, until we do end up inevitably lowering rates. And I have a theory here. The ECB keeps lowering rates. This is like the 3rd time since the Fed did. The Fed stayed pat and didn't do anything again. The ECB a couple days ago did 25 basis point rate cut. Shared it in my Telegram in real time when LaGuardia was talking. So if you wanted to watch it, you had every ability to do it. I talked about it in my lives. But that's an optic that we need to pay attention to. So I believe the U.S. isn't going to do a 50 basis point cut next time. The first time they do it, I think it's going to be 3/4 of 1 point, which means a 75 basis point rate cut, which is a disaster for the U.S. dollar. It's a disaster for the economy, but you're going to get all of the simpleton jumping around. Oh my God, they lowered rates. This is fantastic. We're in quantitative easing. We can't fail. Wait a minute. Why the hell are mortgage rates still going up if we cut rates? The only thing that's going down is our savings plan. What the hell is going on here? Rates are still going up. Car loans are going up, percentage rates. House mortgages are going up percentage rates. Why? If they're cutting rates. Because we're fucking broke. We are broke. It's not even we are so broke we can't even make jokes in this country. We have an interest payment coming up that's trillions and trillions of dollars. We can't afford it. So before that interest payment comes up in Q3, they have to lower rates. So don't be fooled. But Jerome Powell can sit here like a fucking chicken with his head cut off telling you they're not cutting rates and they're standing pat. He's full of shit. He's got no choice. The guy knows there's no choice. And Jerome Powell, he can keep talking his bullshit because he's made $29 million in the last calendar year while we're struggling. So why is he willing to look like a douchebag and a jackass? For $29 million, I bet you 99% of my audience would look like the biggest jackass and would be the biggest jester and the biggest leg humper of the president or the central banks, I should say. The president at time, not Trump, not Biden. Whoever is in the house, I don't really give a fuck who is. It's the central banks who are running the show. And I guarantee most of my audience would be like a dog in heat humping their leg if they were getting paid that amount of money. See, that's where we differ. Because I could make a shitload of money by having those kind of integrity and intangibles that don't exist. But I don't do it. I've had so many opportunities to make so much freaking money off of all of you. It would make your head literally bounce off of your own head. It would. Your head would disassociate and you'd go on another body and make it right. And I know most would do that because I see all the YouTubers. They took that cheap, easy money and it'd be like calling a piece of bologna a piece of real meat. It's just trash. Even though I like bologna, I was fed it a bunch as a kid. I haven't eaten it in years, but you get the picture. So in this great time of uncertainty, the worst thing we can do is align ourselves with the wrong stars. See, I'm not a star. I'm kind of lost in the weeds. But there are stars out there that have the illusion of being these big players in the field. One of the bigger ones are the Tate brothers. They're a bunch of losers. They have no morals. They have indecency. They treat women like shit. They have their own agenda. They probably do things amongst that I'm not going to talk about. But we have these false illusions. You get it all the way in crypto, too. The run guys were a big part of that in the early days when I first started. You know, I told everybody to run as far away as you could because we want to have real information. The point is here is we're going to have real information if we're going to succeed through this market. I'm going to turn the comments on here in about 5 minutes. And I'm going to be interested to see what everybody says. I'm glad to see 106 people here. About 60% of you hit the like button. Make sure to hit that like button if you want to see this community continue to grow, especially in these high times of volatility. I really like this new approach yesterday and today of not looking at comments for a set amount of time because then I can free flow into this. And I always have a lot to say, but sometimes I get cut off and then I will back off a little bit because I make people uncomfortable, but I don't know if I'm making people uncomfortable because I simply can't see. So obviously I can just say what I mean. So Ripple takes Asia by storm with new XRP product. Here's the recent developments. I've read this earlier and I want to read it again. I read it in a different story, so this is updated at 9 o'clock. I love it. Ripple takes Asia by storm with new XRP product. Here are the recent developments. Ripple is again breaking into the Asia market with a new XRP product, which would help drive institutional adoption. This move has been made in partnership with Hashkey Capital, which launched this fund in order to expand institutional access to the altcoin. So Ripple invests in Hashkey's XRP product. In an ex-post, Hashkey Capital announced that it is launching Asia's first XRP tracker fund with Ripple as an early investor. The asset manager noted that this move represents a significant step in expanding institutional access to XRP. The firm further stated that it chose XRP because the altcoin is at the forefront of cross-border payments, thanks to Ripple's payment services, and enables faster, cheaper, and more efficient transactions than traditional systems, such as SWIFT. XRP is also enabling the tokenization of real-world assets. And what better gift to give yourself than a membership in Tom's Army for this beautiful Easter? Oh, wait a minute. Would that be what better gift to give Tom than joining it for Easter? In any event, it might be the decision that changes everything to join Tom's Army. I kid you not. If you want a goatee like this and hair that looks like that, you have to join Tom's Army. If you don't join Tom's Army, my hair will fall off. You don't want to see this beautiful head of hair fall off at 41, do you? So I suggest... No, I'm just kidding. I love it when I'm in this mood. XRP is also enabling the tokenization of real-world assets, RWAs, on its native blockchain. The XRP ledger, XRP Hashkey, added the financial institutions and enterprises worldwide are already using XRP. The asset manager also noted that the XRP Tracker Fund is its third tracker fund, following its Bitcoin and Ethereum exchange-traded funds. The firm also raised the possibility of converting the fund into an ETF within the next 1 to 2 years, subject to regulatory approval. This move will further broaden institutional access. Beyond the XRP Tracker Fund, Hashkey Capital and Ripple are also partnering to explore new investment products. Cross-border DeFi solutions and tokenization. This includes the potential launch of a money market fund, MMF, on the XRP ledger. That would be very interesting. We're turning this more into a casino in crypto. I'm telling you guys, the lucrative time in crypto is passing us by right now. We're going to have one gigantic push here eventually when all ends meet. But I'm telling you, it's never good when you get all of these call options, up-down options, money market accounts. This is how the elite control a sector. They've been doing it for years in silver and gold. Especially silver. They've been doing it for years in the stock market. Now we're pushing it right into crypto, and we're getting down and bending over for the establishment, and it's sad to see. Ripple continues to make moves to boost XRP's adoption. The crypto firm recently agreed to acquire prime broker Hidden Road for $1.25 billion. One of the largest deals in crypto history, through this acquisition, the crypto firm aims to boost XRP and the ROUSD's utility as it looks to make its mark in both the traditional finance TradeFi and decentralized finance DeFi. XRP could allegedly play a major role in the Federal Reserve's plans. I feel like somebody's talked about the Federal Reserve and the central banks and XRP for a long time. I can't think of who that guy was. Could that be us? It very well could. In an X post, crypto commentator Crypto Geek alleged, I don't care what he says, the Federal Reserve has officially hinted that they may use XRP to power the blockchain component of the That's not true. See, why do people have to lie about that stuff? They're not going to use Ripple to be the sole power of Fed now. I'd say they've already got a partnership with HBAR if they were going to go that route, and it would be less obvious to most what was happening there. So Ripple will undoubtedly continue to make progress with getting financial institutions, especially U.S. banks, to adopt its payment service, which XRP facilitates. The crypto firm is nearly in the clear with its lawsuit against the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, as the court recently granted a joint motion to pause the appeal case while they finalize their settlement. As such, with the long-running legal battle almost out of the way, these institutions will be more inclined to partner with Ripple. I don't disagree with that. It's just the way that they stated it is horseshit. Let's see. We'll see who stuck around. Let's see. We've got 110 people. Let's see if there was any comments. Let's see. See if anybody sent a donation. I don't see any donations this morning. No members of Tom's Army joining. So it'll be simple to get through these comments this morning. No doubt about that. Crazy Paul Papa. I'm just going to say hi to the members of Tom's Army and try to say hi. Well, I'll just try to say hi. Crazy Paul, Papa Wheelie, and Jorge, thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XP Predictor, and Jorge for being a very trusted mod. Tom R, welcome in. Trial by Fire, good morning, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your 3rd month with the XP Meteor. Marco, Frankie, thanks for being in Tom's Army for 3+ months with the XP Meteor. I got live. Yes, indeed, Tanya, and thank you, love, for being in Tom's Army for over 2 years with the XP 589 Moon Badge. Love it. Love seeing all these beautiful people. Wow, welcome in. Just rolled a doobie and got the notification. See, that is perfect. Patience is a virtue. Jorge says we need $1.83. Wow says I'm thinking I need more DGB. I have 1.6 million plus currently, so, you know, I might have gone off the deep end. Mark Caston, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Mario Louise Willamese, welcome in. UK Phil, welcome in, thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Go to the gym, bro. Good morning, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your 1st month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. And I know it's your 1st month because that's me being abducted by aliens there. It is. It truthfully is. That's my face superimposed on that badge as well. And go to the gym, bro. Love it. I've been back in the gym for about 3 years now, and I'm in the best shape of my life with my 16 hours a day of fasting. I did my 5-day workout. I'm taking Saturday and Sunday off. Sometimes I do slight weightlifting over the weekend as well. But, you know, you got to take some days off, especially the older you get. A couple days off with a 5-day gym week is perfect. It works out beautiful. Let's see. Andrew, welcome in. Happy Saturday morning to you, future millionaire. Gator, good morning to you, friend. James Zulo, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your 2nd month with the Dusty's Outhouse Crypto News. The most important one aside the 1st month. Because once you join for a 2nd month, it's hard to go. Wow says, does it look like a giant head and shoulders zooming out? Absolutely it does. That's why we're talking about trying to break this with these 2 bullish optimistic routes. These 2 routes that are you know, are somewhat luxurious. These luxurious routes. That's why we can't afford to lose this route, friend. Because if we do, if that inverse head and shoulders breaks, that confirms the head and shoulders pattern overall. And if that's confirmed, this isn't good news for anybody. Because we've been taking the elevator up and we've taken the stairs down the entire way. So good eye. But we absolutely, even in the short term, you could see a head and shoulders set up. But in the longer scale, absolutely, unfortunately. Hit that like button and subscribe to Tom's channel for the best technical analysis on YouTube. Thank you, Jorge. I appreciate that. I really do. Terry Hayes, much love to you as well. Terry says, Tom and family, much love. Same to you, my friend. Thank you so much. Frankie, been Tom's on for 3+ months with the XP Meteor, says it's beautiful here on Long Island. New York, almost 70 beautiful degrees already. Yeah, we got up to 82 yesterday. We've already hit our high for the weekend, though. It's only in the low 60s right now, but it'll be in the 40s by the end of Easter. So we enjoyed it yesterday, believe me. James is in Seattle doing Uber as always. James, you be safe out there doing Uber. I used to do Uber in my past life, Uber and DoorDash, and Uber Eats, as a matter of fact. So be safe out there, friend. I know it can get busy. Let's see, who else do we have? Hey, I see a whoa, that's a rather substantial donation. Holy shit. Excuse my French, that's a nice one. Wow. That is awesome. Trading with J-Ride, welcome in. Please do the free flow style. Oh, you guys like the free flow style. I love it because I really like the free flow style. But then that doesn't mean I don't talk to all of you. It gives us time at the end after 30, 35 minutes. How long have I been on? 41 minutes to talk to you guys. And I really do like this style. It allows me to stay in my own head. And I know you guys are here to hear me. Frankie Fresh says, fixed your entire house. I sure did. I did the kitchen floors. I did the entire kitchen remodel. I did the floors throughout the house except the bedrooms. I did all the doors inside the house. I still got to do the exterior doors. That's next. Went from carpet to a beautiful vinyl flooring. Painted the whole house. Oh, it was a lot. It was a lot, but crypto afforded me the opportunity to do it sooner and did everything at once. Still have some work to be fixed. You know, when you get a bunch of work done at the same time, you got to call them back a few times, and I'm not shy. When you spend $50,000, $60,000 repairing your house, you're going to call them back as many times as you want, and this will be the third time they're coming back. Because they still have stuff I want them to do with the outside doors and whatnot. You know, my external doors. But they got stuff that I want them to make look perfect, too. Hey, when you get somebody out there to work on your house, don't be afraid to call them back a few times. I'm being serious. You want to get your stuff done exactly like you want. And if they're good workers and they're professional, they'll keep coming back out because they want your business in the future as well. Sean Crothers, welcome in. My main man from Maine and a very, very trusted mod. Adam Carrillo, welcome in. And good morning to you. Never regret owning XRP. I'll never regret owning XRP. That's why I tell people, I don't care if it takes me back down because I did what I wanted to do. I had a fundamental understanding of what I wanted to hold, and now I won't regret holding it, and I would rather hold it than not. Marco, welcome in. Yes, give thanks to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and thank you for being in Tom's Army for 3+ months with the XP Meteor. Where more than one of us speak the name of our Lord, God becomes present in all of our actions and our speakings, and I firmly believe that. And fat, not fat, exactly, Jorge, with a P. I'm feeling fat with the PH, not fat with an FAT. Love it. Catching up now. See, Red Production, welcome in. Your sound is crap. Drops out. Hey, you know, there's got to be one dick in the bunch. You ever think my sound sounds like crap because I'm outside in nature, friend, and the wind's blowing? And this isn't a professional studio. I'm literally talking to you through my tablet. But, you know, to each their own. It's going to drop out with the wind. But, you know, there's always one person who gets caught up in that. That's all right. I guess you won't be here any longer. You'll probably leave. And that's okay. Let's see. See who else. It has become very hard to accumulate XRP. Is anyone still buying, accumulating by trade? It is becoming hard to accumulate. Now, I suppose like you're saying with trading, we could find those downward drop moments and then try to expand the bag in a sense. Best thing you could ever did with your profits. I appreciate that, Frankie. Tom, if you were to buy DGB, what would be a great amount to grab and hold? Oh, we got to go into DGB. I know. There's no problem with your sound. It's probably a shit computer. Yeah, Frankie, but I didn't want to tell him that. I would just blame myself. So I blame the wind. I know my tablet doesn't sound bad. Unless the wind gets through it. It's actually designed to do exactly what I'm doing without having to do external microphones and things like that. That's why I bought this kind. But I get it. I get it. And the $49.99 donation, that's like more donations than I got the whole week. I mean, you just, holy moly, $49.99 donation. That is incredible. Happy Easter to you, Bandito. Thank you for being above and beyond, because you're already in Tom's Army for over a year with the I Told You So badge. That's incredible. That's incredible. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I love everybody saying that it sounds fine. I didn't think there was going to be a bunch of issues today. But I didn't think that, sorry, my dad texted me. I wanted to text him back. So I didn't think there'd be a whole bunch of issues with the volume, but I knew, with the wind, you can never quite understand, it happens. So I want to leave you guys with this, because Julie's mom's here. I'm not going to make her sit here forever to go to the farmer's market. I know she's inside waiting. We usually go about 10, but I want to talk to her. We have Easter tomorrow. Make sure we have everything set up. I don't know if we have to go to a second store today because we might have to get more stuff. But I want you guys to pay attention to XRP. It's very simple. That daily very well could be a gravestone. We won't know that unless we continue to break bearish. A big sign that this is a gravestone is the XRP price ends up under 207 and starts working its way down towards $1.99. The fact the 2-hour time frame is making new lows, we do need to have a corrective phase here, and you'll know it's going in a better direction if we get back above this blue line that I have set here for the drop point. You got to get back above that to start invalidating a further drop. If the drop isn't invalidated, the top end of this drop, if it stays bullish, will be down to $1.83. If it hits that mid-tier lane, which we're in, which could be a premature breakout here, it could still be held at $1.99. However, thinly traded weekend, this is weekend number 18 in a row. Every single weekend of the new year, we've ended red in some form or fashion. Even when it looked bullish the one week, we dropped off 30% roughly on the Sunday night candle before it closed on Monday at 8 p.m. I think at the time it was 7 p.m. because we didn't go back on the clocks in the USA. But anyhow, so we need to make sure that we meet certain agendas. And somebody had asked me about DGB. If you were to buy DGB, you have to be very fucking careful right now. That looks bearish as hell to me right now, and I love DGB, but these look like gravestone dojis are setting up. And some will say, Tom, it's not a gravestone. Well, this is my own interpretation of a gravestone. So if it doesn't fit your understanding, well, then you don't prescribe by the same logic as I do, because you weren't taught by me. If you're taught by me, you're seeing what I'm seeing. And I do this for free every day. So if you've been watching it 4 years, you can see what I'm looking at, because I'm looking at this possibly to come back to this uptrend at 00992, even if it's bullish, to create that inverse right arm. That's no secret in the short term, And if we want to make sure that doesn't happen, DGB needs to stay above this line here at 010, so the 1 cent mark. Seems to be struggling just a tiny bit if you're asking me in the 2 hourly. 4 hourly, same bearish candle. Daily, has a potential. 10 hours left if we could get hot here. But we'd need to break past this resistance that's over the top. So you'll know it's going right if we get over 1025 and we start working up near 107. You know it's going wrong if we're under 1 cent. The amount of DGB I want is the amount I own right now, which is 1.6 million. Now, I understand I've been buying it all over the fucking map. I've even had a swing trade from 0.0048 at 2 cents, and then I was able to start buying it back on the drop way. It came way below 1 cent again. I mean, I couldn't have predicted this to happen like this, but it did. We had the big breakout. And then in March, it came all the way back down to 0.077. In February, it came back down to 0.071, which is where I re-emphasized these. And then we re-emphasized and re-emphasized. There's just so many emphasized. But if it breaks down, we're going to reset all the way back down. So there's so many places. How many would I want to own? I think that's your own personal portfolio. I could own so many different things besides just 1.6 million DGB and then the other things I own, but I sacrificed some other things. I sacrificed the abundance of other things to go a little bit deeper into DGB because I feel like it's in a better bargaining positioning. Maybe not at 1 cent, but where it was giving me opportunity. It's up 38% or 40% almost right now from the bottom of that drop after we hit the swing high. So we're still way out. We're 50% below the cycle top so far. So, I mean, it's still way off. A lot of the market's still way off, but we'll continue to update this. I'm XRP Future Millionaire. Thank you all for spending 50 minutes with me on this beautiful Saturday morning. I will still have more updates today. Tomorrow, even though it's Easter Sunday, I'm going to be going to Mass, but I'm going to wake up early just like I did today. And we're going to do a live for anybody who's here. It probably won't be the busiest because people are going to be doing Easter stuff. People are going to be at church. But I'm going to go to probably the 11 o'clock Mass as normal. They have a 7:30, and 11. But I like the 11 o'clock Mass personally. And then I got stuff I got to set up here for Easter tomorrow. We're doing a big party like always. Julie's family comes. But other than that,